Hey, today I'm talking about 3 Jessie Buckley films, and the names of those 3 movies are The Lost Daughter, Misbehaviour, and Fingernails. First up is The Lost Daughter. This is a 2021 film starring Olivia Colman and Dakota Johnson. And the basic premise is Olivia plays this woman in her late 40s who is just trying to have a nice, relaxing holiday. But she notices this young mother struggling with her young daughter and can't help but reminisce about when she used to be a young mother struggling with her young daughter and how much she f***ing hated that. And it's pretty great. I will say it wasn't until like the very end of the movie that I got bumped up into the really liked category. It had an ending that really connected to me. But like throughout the film, I kind of struggled a bit to connect to the movie just because like I don't have any kids. And though like I've worked with kids for most of my adult life, so like I definitely understand struggling with kids, but I don't feel like I struggled to the extent that is displayed in this movie. So I think that's part of why I didn't connect to it till so late in the film. But I'm glad I did, because it was a good experience. It's a slow, quiet film, and they do a really good job of just kind of letting these quiet moments happen. You then get annoyed along with Olivia as like noise comes in and disrupts the nice, peaceful, chill moment that was happening. And like all the other characters were really interesting too, because like a lot of them are loud, obnoxious New Yorkers, and you're like, are these guys gonna like mess some stuff up at some point? Like, am I gonna get stabbed or something? Or like, are they gonna hand me a piece of cake and try to be my best friend? Like, what's gonna happen with them? There's kind of like this underlying anxiety that's always there. And Olivia gives a great performance as always. Dakota Johnson's character is really interesting too, because she's practically naked for the entire film, and like she knows that she's hot and attractive, but she's kind of like done and over with the fact that that's what she is. Like, she doesn't really care about her attractiveness, which is a really interesting character trait. Jessie Buckley's great. She plays the younger version of Olivia's character, and I could really empathize with her. I probably would have connected to the movie more quickly had it more so just focused on the younger version of the character. Olivia definitely didn't do bad. It's just like I could see myself more so in Jessie than I could Olivia, which makes sense because I'm closer to Jessie's age. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie and would totally recommend it. This movie definitely deserved the Oscar nominations that they got. I would especially recommend it to parents, whether you're parents of young children or your kids have long since left home. I think there's definitely a lot in here for you to connect with, just like reminiscing on the struggles of parenthood and whatnot. So yeah, definitely a good film and totally worth a watch. Next up is Misbehaviour. This is a 2020 film starring a bunch of actors that you would recognize. And the basic premise is this is inspired by a true event that took place in 1970 at the Miss World Beauty competition in London, in which a bunch of women protested the event, kicking off the women's liberation movement. And it's pretty good. Everyone definitely gave great performances. Greg Kinnear was amazing as Bob Hope. I didn't recognize him right away too, and I really enjoyed him being just like this womanizing guy. I definitely liked all the perspectives that they gave us, in particular like how the women in the beauty pageant were reacting to both just like the idea of women's liberation, but also understanding that this competition is such an opportunity for them, of like this can be life-changing. Just being here, but also like winning is such a huge thing. The cash prize, but then also so much more. And it's like, yeah, they are being judged essentially like cattle, but there's something more to it than just that. So they're like conflicting opinions about everything. What I wish this film would have done a little bit more of was add more texture to the relationship between Keira Knightley's character and Jessie Buckley's character, just because I feel like that was sort of supposed to be the central focus of it, but we don't get a lot there. I feel like those two characters are kind of sort of one-notey, especially like Jessie's character, because we don't really get a lot of backstory or details with her. She doesn't really do a whole lot. She just kind of exists to help motivate and give Keira's character something to bounce off of and react to. So more there would have been better. I think just kind of focusing on them in general. Like, even though I loved Bob Hope in this, he's kind of the easiest to lift out, so then give more focus to the women. Also, I feel like it didn't truly set the stage for exactly what the movie is, in regards of like, I know what the women's liberation movement is, but I feel like it didn't necessarily feel like this was the spark that lit the atmosphere on fire moment that it was. So I think think kind of building that more up would have been really helpful to make the movie more impactful. That being said though, I still enjoyed it a good solid amount. It's a quite like, so it's basically a 4 out of 5. It definitely is a movie that like riles you up and gets you excited for equal rights and whatnot. So yeah, no, even though I complained a good amount, I would totally recommend this movie. It's a good solid movie that definitely still taught me a lot of things I didn't know. So yeah, no, solid movie, worth a watch. And lastly is Fingernails. This is a 2023 Apple TV Plus film, and the basic premise is in the near future, there is this technology that takes your fingernails and determines if you and your partner are truly in love, definitively. So it's an interesting concept, but I don't know what this movie is trying to say or trying to do, because from how it ends, it seems like the point of the movie is that, oh, technology cannot tell you whether you're in love or not. Only you can figure out for yourself if you're actually in love or not. And I'm like, well, okay, cool. That's what real life is. Like, we don't have a technology that tells us if we're in love or not. So like, what is the point of this thing? Like, it's sci-fi. Sci-fi is meant to be allegorical. So what's the allegorical? And so I'm trying to figure this out. And I'm like, it's not dating apps because it's about people who are in long relationships. So what is its point? It does talk about like complacency in relationships, in particular like how you can be in love with someone, but if you're not actively putting in effort to the relationship, then it's not really working. And I'm like, that stuff was good. I definitely understood that, and it's definitely true that a relationship is work every single day. You can't just like coast on it forever, because that's how stuff dies. If you're coasting a car, it'll come to a stop eventually. I do think the performances were good, especially Jessie's, but yeah, no, I don't know what this film is trying to say or trying to do. If you have a good idea, please inform me. I would love to hear anyone else's thoughts on this to kind of put the pieces more together. As it stands right now, I thought it was fine. I thought it was middle of the road. It's a liked. It did some things well, it looked good, but I don't think it really had a good solid point that I was going after. Would I recommend it? Nah, not really. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got The Lost Daughter sitting at number 32 in the really like section. And then after that, not too terribly far behind, is Misbehaviour sitting at number 49 in the quite like section. And then bringing up the rear is Fingernails sitting at number 64 in the liked section. This is out of a total of 81 old movies so far this year.